welcome to this month's show of Winning Runs. My name is Holly Clayman and I will be your host. I'm sitting here with Charlotte Cunningham, who is going to be our featured trainer. She is known for making and selling easy to ride, good quality, competitive horses that can go on and win at 4Ds, Futurities, or rodeos. Some of her accomplishments include many Futurity wins, especially the 1994 BFA World Futurity aboard Orange Smash. She was styling in that run with the cow print pants. More recently, she trained the horse that won the 2005 Josie Junior World, and her current horse, Famous Better Be Me, won the 2007 year-end BBR region for the Texas 1D and the 2007 ANHA Shootout 1D Championship. Charlotte, what are you going to talk to us about today?
Well, I'm going to talk about being consistent and communication with your horse and having a good foundation on your horse. I'm going to talk about some equipment that I like to use that has helped me become a better trainer. We're also going to talk about a little bit of horsemanship. We're going to talk about problems that people, have with their horses. I've been on the website for Winning Runs Forum, and they have asked me to come on and do a featured trainer. I do winning tips a lot of times, and they've asked me to come on and maybe do an hour-long show because they want to see more of it. So this month we did something a little bit different. I'm the featured trainer this month, and we let my vet, Dr. Hutchison, come on winning tips and talk about a few things. So that's basically what we're going to go over and talk about and hopefully help somebody make that winning run.
So what do you mean by foundation in a horse?
Well, most of the time we talk about, okay, foundation is the braking, how broke are they, how they turn around, how they do things. Well, I'm going to go a little step further about foundation. I'm going to go and talk about, it's not just, I'm going to lead off here. It's not just the whoa. Okay, we know that. We know your horse has to have whoa. And the go. It's not just the turn. We know a horse has to turn around a barrel. We know he has to be able to run. What I really want to emphasize on is this. I want to emphasize on communication and consistency with your horse. That is the absolute key, I think, to making a good horse that has a great foundation. And we're going to go over some of that stuff here in a little bit on the pattern when I talk about positioning on the barrels. I'm going to talk a few things, what I think a horse needs to know before they go to the barrel pattern. One, of course, they need to go. They need to learn how to stop. They need to learn how to bend. And when I say bend, I don't necessarily mean your horse needs to be able to move off your leg. Yes, granted, I teach them to move off my leg, but I want a horse to be able to wrap around my leg. So this mare actually belongs to Tammy Jo Crows and myself. Her name is Perks. She is a 3-year-old. She is one of my project horses for next year for the Futurities. So I want this mare, see how she's giving me her head, and what I'm doing is when this mare gives me her head, I am releasing her nose, and I'm bringing her back. If she keeps her head, and you can see it ever so subtly in my hands, when she takes her head back, I'm going to get her head, and I'm going to use my inside leg right here. Now I'm going to ask her for a tighter turn. She gives me that tighter turn, but as you can see, that hind leg is staying up underneath her, and she's making a nice fluid turn. Okay, so if I drop my hand like this and I'm saying, okay, now turn, did you see what just happened? She stopped immediately, and we stopped forward motion. So I'm going to ask her to do the same thing here. My hands are up, I'm not down here, okay? And I know that we have been taught all of our lives, the old cowboys are down here, vertical flexion, lateral flexion, lateral flexion. You've been taught so much to keep your hands down here. Well, see, as you can tell, let me turn to the side. When I do that, Look at what this horse is doing. Bob, zoom in on her head. She's pulling on me, okay? Now watch my hands when I keep them up here. She's not pulling on me, okay? And I'm going to ask her to back up. That to me is light in the face, and that's very important when you run barrels. And we'll get to it. Mitch, we're going to talk about how important it is for the teeth on your horse to have them done regularly. So tell me, how often do you have horses' teeth done? And then you're going to show some of the things about, on this skeleton model, about what's important with your horse.
Well, dentistry is very important, and it is some knowledge that's been around for hundreds of years. A lot of the knowledge went by the wayside after the cavalry went away and the workhorses went by the wayside and the Industrial Revolution took over. The horse kind of became a backyard pet or a beast of burden as opposed to an athlete or a working animal. And all that knowledge kind of was lost, and now it's kind of come full circle. The cavalry would never buy horses that were 4 years or younger for one reason, was that there was so much dental work to be done in those first 4 years of life. And here we have $1 million fraternity horses,
right.
You know, they're 2 and 3, and there's an awful lot going on in the mouth to make the horse uncomfortable. What we have to realize is a horse is losing anywhere from 36 to 44 teeth in the first 4 years of life.
Oh, really?
And so there's a lot of discomfort and unevenness within the mouth. When we talk about floating teeth, people have the misconception that we're trying to flatten the arcade. It's very simple when we float teeth. What we're trying to do is just take down the high side on the lower arcade, and then on the upper arcade, it's the outside of the teeth. This is a skull where we've done, we've floated this side of the mouth. The other side of the mouth, you can see that it has some very sharp points.
Right.
This is a 4-year-old horse, so he's not very old. The other thing that we have to consider is the amount of tooth that the horse is born with, and in the permanent teeth, what we have to realize is the upper portion of this tooth is primarily dentin. As this tooth continues to erupt throughout the horse's life, we start to get into more enamel, therefore the tooth is harder, and there becomes less and less dental work to do later in life if it's been done in the first 6 to 8 years of life. Yeah. The other thing that I think is real important when teeth are floated is to roll the premolar both on the upper arcade and the lower. As you can see here, this side has not, and neither has this. There are very sharp points there. It's not so much the bit hitting the teeth, but it's the tongue. When we have the tongue in the horse's mouth, we set the bit and we go to say whoa, or we turn left or right. We're bunching that tongue up against these points, and it can be very uncomfortable and cause a horse to, you know, fight the bit or resist it in some regard, or do a lot of head shaking and that sort of thing. So it's very important when you're starting horses, I think, before you ever put a bit in their mouth, is to have their teeth done.
You believe in even doing younger horses, because I have some of those yearlings that we talked about before, and you told me, you know, do their teeth, and I've never heard that on, though quite that young. You know, I always thought about 2, you start taking their wolf teeth out, have them floated, but you even expressed that those horses need to have their teeth done as well.
The baby teeth in a young horse are very, very sharp and can really affect the way that the food is, you know, chewed, and then too, just the comfort level in the mouth. And some of these weanlings and horses of that age, if they aren't quite looking the way that we'd like them to, just doing their teeth a lot of times will allow them to utilize their feed better, and then you just kind of see them bloom from doing that. Yeah.
Okay, well, I appreciate it. Let's go on to some nutritional needs.
That's all for today, folks.
Join us next month for a brand new show.